Welcome to Awesome Movie Year, the podcast where we take a look back at an awesome year for movies, which is every year. I'm Josh Bell, film critic and writer, and I'm joined by my co-host.
I'm Jason Harris, filmmaker, comedian, and I'm a street tough. I talk like this, but Santa Claus is my best friend.
Yeah, it doesn't sound anything like him, but really capturing the spirit of this film. It is, I believe it's Christmas Eve while this is being released. And per Jason's very strong insistence, around holiday time, we usually take a look at a holiday-related film. And we've been in the midst of our season on the films of 1971, but there really wasn't any kind of notable Christmas movie for us to look at. So we are offering up a sneak preview of our next season. Usually we wait until the epilogue to announce that, but we are revealing it now that we will be talking about the films of 1985 next season. And so we're looking ahead with a 1985 Christmas movie. It's Santa Claus the movie.
What a Christmas gift.
To no one.
Well, I mean, 1985 will be a good season. So we know
I'm sure.
that,
I meant, the movie, Santa Claus the movie was not.
I mean, again, per my research, Josh, it's become a cult classic in the British Isles.
It has. Yeah. No, it's a notable Christmas movie. It's not a good Christmas movie. I think you and I will agree, but it is certainly a notable one.
Well, I don't have a home, but there's a rich girl, and I go, cool, and then she lets me in the window.
It's really he just sounds like a normal kid. He doesn't talk like Charles Bronson.
Yeah, it's an actor's interpretation, Josh. Mm-hmm. I made a choice, and there's no wrong choices, Josh. The only wrong choice is not making a choice as an actor.
Sure, you did make a choice indeed. So this film was a big would-be blockbuster of 1985. It was produced by the father-son team of Alexander and Ilya Salkind, who were behind the very successful Superman movies, or the first three Superman movies. I think the fourth one hadn't come out yet, and they were not involved with that when that eventually happened. But they had brought Superman to the screen, and that was the biggest success as far as superhero movies go for decades. And they had also just produced a less successful Supergirl movie, an attempt to expand on the franchise. Maybe they were ahead of their time there with making a superhero universe, or trying to. So
if they were ahead of their time, they would have made Supergirl and then shelved it for a tax write-off.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe they feel like they should have,
Batgirl,
considering how well it did.
But Superman 3 also wasn't a big success. So the two of these, between Superman 3 and Supergirl, they were like, hey, we got to get back on the winning track. You know what will help us do that? Santa Claus.
Right. Another beloved pop culture / mythological figure with a recognizable
flying character.
Costume. Yes.
Yeah. With a hot wife.
So, right. Sure. Why not? So they're kind of applying the same formula, especially from the first Christopher Reeve Superman movie to Santa Claus, where we have a lengthy origin story segment before we shift gears to the present day and set our main character against a ridiculous villain who is a sort of industrialist looking to create havoc. Here, this toy manufacturer, played by John Lithgow. We have David Huddleston as Santa Claus, Dudley Moore.
The bums have lost, Lebowski.
Right, the big Lebowski himself is Santa. Dudley Moore is Patch, the disgruntled elf. And you got the two little orphan kids that Santa befriends. One is this homeless urchin, and the other a poor little rich girl whose parents have we don't know exactly what happened to her parents, but they're both orphans. They befriend each other. They maybe fall in love. There were some weird hints about the two kids getting together in this.
They were
movie.
Definitely gonna they were definitely romancing each other, Josh.
Yeah, they're like 8 or something, or 10, or I don't know.
You didn't have elementary school girlfriend or anything? I remember my first girlfriend was in not even a girlfriend, but when I was in preschool, there was this girl, Ruth, and we used to cuddle when we napped together.
Oh, Wow, that's
It's
kind of
probably the
risque.
probably the best girlfriend I ever had. I'm just kidding.
I'm sure I had like little crushes around that age, but I don't know. I think what's weird is not necessarily that these kids have little crushes on each other, but at one point Santa's kind of like, "Hey, kid, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. How's that going?" And it's like, Santa, this is inappropriate.
Well, he does, as I say in my Christmas short that's currently on the film festival circuit, seasonal work. Like, I've had countless boys and girls sit on my lap and tell me their deepest, darkest desires. So,
But
there's some
stuff
with Santa.
A wholesome Santa. This is meant to be. I mean, there are plenty of movies with kind of naughty Santas or bad Santas, as we have discussed in an episode of this podcast. Yeah. But this Santa is supposed to be pure-hearted and wholesome.
Like you, Josh.
Not in any way like me. So,
hey, Josh, I want to say one thing, because you were like, they kind of took the Superman formula. But I don't know if it was the lack of Richard Donner directing or from the script, but there's not, and I know you feel this way too, not nearly the amount of clarity and structure that you would find in the original Superman in this film.
Yeah, that's true. Although I will say it's been a little while, but I remember the last time I watched that Christopher Reeve Superman movie being amazed that it took like 45 minutes for him to become Superman. So, I mean, in that sense, it does mimic the structure of that movie where we have this lengthy segment. I mean, he actually becomes Santa Claus.
Yeah, in like 10 minutes.
Yeah. But it's a very lengthy kind of origin where he's Santa, but he's working out all the Santa stuff, the workshop and the naughty and nice list and kind of figuring out his whole MO there for a while before
getting kids to hook up with each other.
Yeah, before we have this like kind of jarring cut to suddenly it's like modern day McDonald's or whatever. And we introduce all of those elements. So in that sense, it is following that formula, just not successfully.
Yeah, I mean, I always hated the note like this feels episodic, but this feels episodic. This movie is like, hey, now it's Christmas next year and Santa's on the sleigh again. Okay, we'll cut to 1 year later and the toys aren't going well.
Right. I mean, it's not only that it's episodic, it feels like it's multiple different types of movies kind of stacked on top of each other. You got the origin story, which has this sort of mythological feel and takes place in, centuries past. And you got Santa befriending the orphan kids. And then you got John Lithgow, who doesn't show up until like an hour into the movie as the evil toy maker. And you got Dudley Moore as the elf. And it's just too many things that don't fit together, I think.
Yes, but when John Lithgow shows up, he shows up.
He sure does. I mean, and you can tell also that the Salkinds probably hired him and said, "Okay, watch Gene Hackman in Superman, and then just do twice that much."
Well, they wanted Gene Hackman. Yeah, I mean, I have my alternate casting list, and but I do agree with you. There is like mishmash tones. Even to the point where like Dudley Moore, who's like a great comic actor of this generation, is just playing this part way too straight. Where's the whimsy in that? Where's Patch's whimsy?
Yeah, Patch is a terrible character. So audiences mostly seem to agree. This movie was yet another failure for the Salkinds. It grossed $23.7 million on its budget of between 30 and 50 million, which is a large range. But either way, even if it's on the lower end of that, it is not a success and was not well received at all by critics either. Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs down in an enjoyable episode in which they give every movie thumbs down that they reviewed, which was...
Did you rewatch the episode?
No, I mean, I just rewatched the Santa Claus segment, but I kind of skimmed through the episode and then I watched at the end to get the thumbs, to verify the thumbs, and I saw that they had done thumbs down for everything. They also reviewed another 1985 Christmas movie called One Magic Christmas with Mary Steenburgen. Do you know that one, Jason?
No, but I do like me some Mary Steenburgen. She's like a real MVP in a lot of movies, I'd say.
2 thumbs down on that one as well. So
I give Mary Steenburgen 2 thumbs up, Josh.
I like her too, but I've never seen that movie either. I don't think I'd even heard of that one, but they were...
What was it called one more time?
One Magic Christmas. So they did not care for it, nor did they particularly care for Santa Claus the movie. They were busy pitching different plot ideas by the end of their review. So they were definitely not.
What was the best one?
Well, Ebert, it was both on the idea that there's not enough conflict in this movie. So Ebert suggested that the villain this is a very Lex Luthor-y thing, should create some sort of dome over the world so that the sleigh can't fly, and he prevents Santa from delivering the presents. And Siskel's pitch was that BZ should kidnap Santa and take over as evil Santa.
Yeah, I mean, that one, Siskel wins the pitch battle there.
Yeah, Siskel did say that his pitch should be worth $500,000 in Hollywood, but
yeah,
that didn't happen. So yeah, they were not into it. And in his written review, Roger Ebert said, "The central weakness of Santa Claus the movie is its lack of real conflict. The movie needs a super Scrooge, and all it gets is the kind of bad guy Ralph Nader might have invented. The biggest crisis is when a couple of reindeer come down with runny noses. The good thing about the movie is the special effects. The Salkinds and their associates have by now figured out exactly how to make it look like somebody is flying. And when Santa's sleigh makes a run past the Brooklyn Bridge, it's a pretty sight. Little kids will like it, and indeed, little kids will probably like most of this movie. The weakness is that larger kids and parents, deputized to escort the little ones, are likely to find a lot of it a little thin."
Yeah, the special effects nowadays, we wouldn't say like really,
yeah, they're okay.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of like the animatronic reindeer, better than the special effects. But
Did you watch this one with your daughter, Jason? I think you said that
we watched the first half of it together, and then you know these kids, Josh, they got the short attention span. She's like, "Can we watch something else and come back to this?" And I was like, "I'm finishing this without you, child, because I have a podcast to do." And she's like, "Well, will you rewatch it with me?" I'm like, "You could watch the rest when you wake up before me, because you're always up before me." And now it's actually good because she has to finish this and she has to finish the second half of Fiddler on the Roof. So you get both Christmas and Hanukkah.
Do you think she's really going to watch the second half of either of those movies?
I mean, she did like Fiddler on the Roof. We're both kind of, on this one.
Yeah. But, so she wasn't a big fan of this one.
I guess she's not a little kid anymore, Josh. She's a tween.
No, she's not. So. But I wonder if little kids would like this. I mean, especially the first 45 minutes where it's like Santa backstory. Like, that doesn't really seem super fun for kids.
Well, not just backstory. It takes itself like so seriously. There's no humor to it or anything. It's like you're missing all the things like that make the 80s movies and Christmas movies fun and great. Like I use the word whimsy. You don't get that whimsy until like the last 4 minutes of this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it does take it seriously and decide to come up with this mythology. And you got the ancient elf played by Burgess Meredith. It was like the prophecy has been revealed. And again, it seems like all about them trying to turn this into follow the prototype of like a superhero movie. And it's not what you want from Santa Claus.
I love Burgess Meredith, but he was like, again, he's a character, right? That's the beauty of him. Everything he does best is when he goes big. And this, they like toned him down way too much, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like a little cameo. So I thought it was fine. But yeah, he can do something a lot broader and a lot more fun, I think.
He, every scene he's in Grumpy Old Men, he steals. He got to play hide the salami.
So Vincent Canby in the New York Times said, as overblown kiddie movies go, Santa Claus the movie ranks somewhere below Annie and even Snow White and the Three Stooges, which at least featured the revivifying antisocial behavior of the Stooges from time to time. Screenwriters David and Leslie Newman are very funny people, as they've demonstrated in their Superman scripts. However, there's probably not much that they or anyone else could do to make a film about Santa Claus any more riveting than the idea initially sounds. Apparently, the producers and Jeannot Szwarc, the director, have spared no expense on a production that manages to look both elaborate and tacky. It has the manner of a listless musical without any production numbers.
Vincent Canby has a listless review there. There's no way to make a better movie about Santa Claus than what these guys have done. Like, it's like, there's no other story to be told with Santa Claus. This is ridiculous. No thanks, Candy. I did find it interesting that David and Leslie Newman, husband and wife team, wrote this, but David Newman got sole writing credit. Yes. Way to stick it to your wife, bro.
She gets a story credit, but not a screenwriting credit. I don't know how that was worked out. But the thing about him saying that it feels like a musical, there was definitely one sequence where it's like showing the elves all working around the workshop and you've got music playing in the background and it goes on a long time and there's no dialogue. And I just kept thinking, like, why aren't they singing right now? This seems like it's a musical number where they removed the song or something. So there's no indication that that was meant to be the case. But at the same time, I feel like it's another aspect of like, there's something off here, something missing here.
Also off is calling the Three Stooges antisocial. Literally, most of their gags are in social situations.
Well, but that doesn't mean antisocial doesn't necessarily mean they avoid social situations. It means they cause problems, I think, in social situations.
That's not what antisocial means. It means
against
being
society.
Not social.
No, it means against society.
Yes, not. You're antisocial. Like, you won't go out and do stuff.
It means both. I think.
I don't buy it.
I think he's using it in the sense
of F yourself.
Contrary to the laws and customs of society in a way that causes annoyance and disapproval in others. That's literally what the Three Stooges do.
Well, you just caused annoyance in me. So let's move on.
Number 3 definition, not sociable or wanting the company of others. So it's both. We're both right.
Okay. As long as you admit I'm right, we'll go with it.
Well, you're right that let's just cut this whole segment.
That's up. We're good. Yeah. No, let's keep it. He admitted I'm right. So.
No.
Go on to the next review.
Yeah. So finally, Dolores Barclay in the Associated Press said, everything works out in the end without becoming too smarmy, like Miracle on 34th Street, or preachy like A Christmas Carol. But unlike those two films, Santa Claus somehow misses that narrow ledge called a classic. One reason is the lack of action. Despite some nicely filmed aerial shots with real reindeer and the mean meanderings of BZ, the movie is fairly sedentary. Nothing much happens. Toys are made, Christmas comes and goes.
That's true. Toys are made and Christmas does come and go. I can't really argue with that one, Josh.
I mean, I think, but it's like what you were saying before, like, oh, now it's Christmas again. Oh, here we are on the slate. Now it's next year. And it's just sort of like, as Siskel and Ebert pointed out, there are 0 scenes between Santa Claus and BZ, the evil toy maker. Like, the main villain never interacts with the hero directly.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems with it, which, of course, was pointed out by our favorite Italian film critic, Vincenzo Casaretti, who says, as you well know, famously said, "Hey, una merda."
I was hoping maybe you learned how to say Merry Christmas in Italian for the purposes of this episode.
I just went with it's shit instead.
Yeah, I got that. I don't speak Italian, but I learned French and I figured that one out. So, yeah, it's not. He's
a very good critic, Josh.
He is. He really cuts to the chase. I feel like, those 1 to 3 word reviews from that guy really capture the essence of every film that he talks about. So,
yeah, he's like the anti-Pauline Kael that way.
Yeah, that's true. He really, he should be on. It's too bad he's dead because he should be on TikTok or something right now because he's so succinct.
Well, we can always, reanimate him.
Yeah. So
I like how you said he's dead. He's a made-up person.
Yeah, but I made up that he's dead.
I know, and the rules of improv are that I have to yes and this. So it's like, I can't say, no, he's not dead. I'm like, yes, he is, and we can reanimate him.
Right. Why not? So this, I thought it was fascinating, too, that I know, Jason, you mentioned you have these alternate casting options, but John Carpenter was the first original choice to direct this film. And I don't know how that would have worked out, but it probably would have been more interesting.
It would have been way more interesting. He wanted Brian Dennehy to play Santa, which, Lebowski did fine. But again, I'm not blaming the actor on it. I would have liked more spirit as we've seen him in Coen Brothers movies. Other directors, Lewis Gilbert and Guy Hamilton, who directed some James Bond movies, and then Robert Wise, who we have talked about before. That would have been an interesting one.
Yeah, he could have maybe brought a more sophisticated sensibility to this movie. I don't know.
All right.
This is a producer-driven project. I feel like they probably wanted someone who would just come in and execute the vision that they had for the movie.
I think you're right. That's why Carpenter had to not do it, because he wanted more say in the script and the tone. Josh, not only had I not seen this, I didn't know about this movie, and you brought it up to me, and I was like, an 80s movie? Santa superhero origin stuff? This sounds awesome. That's what I thought going into it.
Yeah, you were. I told you it was bad, I think, because looking through 1985 to see about a possible Christmas movie, came across this one, and I think I missed One Magic Christmas. Maybe, I feel like that's a somewhat forgotten one, more so than this. But I had seen this before at one time when I was doing a series of blog entries about various Christmas movies, and it's not good, but it is, I think, sort of fascinating as a time capsule of like what these attempts were during the 80s, to make blockbuster films. In a way, it compares to something currently like Red One, which is like the modern version of like, let's make Santa into a blockbuster. And it follows the formula of current blockbuster movies. And this is following the formula of 80s blockbuster movies.
Red One, Josh, I think you know this, Dave. I don't know if you know this, but I had this idea that I was going to go and take out, which was Taken meets Die Hard in the North Pole. And it was going to be, the Hans Gruber person kidnaps Santa and holds him for ransom and kidnaps everyone in the North Pole. And the only people left are Mrs. Claus's brother, who doesn't like Santa, and like the elf with like the kind of scientific brain or the magical stuff. And it was just going to be such a fun version of it. And then Red One came out and ruined everything. The Rock is always ruining things for me, guys. Why is he always doing that?
Yeah, he ruins a lot of stuff for a lot of people. I feel like he could still potentially make your movie. I mean, as we learn, like there's an endless appetite for Christmas movies, often ones that have the same plots. So I feel like you could still make that happen, Jason.
Yeah, we'll probably get it out there.
We believe in you.
So,
thank you, Dave, had you seen this one before?
No, but I also had not heard of it at all. And I still am not sure if I've actually watched this movie, but I think I did.
What? Explain yourself.
It's just such a fever dream. It's so strange. Like that's why I think I liked it a little more than you guys, just because it's so damn weird.
It is weird, but I feel like it's not.
I don't think it's weird at all.
Way. It's just weird in that it's like, again, I feel like it's like multiple different movies that are at odds with each other. Like no one knew exactly what kind of movie they were trying to make, so they just made.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I mean. Like it definitely feels like a whole bunch of weird ideas about what a Santa Claus action movie could be, and none of them work. And I had a little bit of fun with it because of that.
Yeah. So anything else you want to mention about the background of this movie, Jason?
Well, Josh, I think you covered most of it right there. And by the way, what a great job you did there. The soundtrack was originally released on record and cassette in 1985, but soon after went out of print, remained unavailable to 2009 when it was released as a CD with a limited run of 1,000 copies, sold out immediately, Josh.
I mean, this movie does have its following, as you mentioned, especially in the UK. And I have to say that the end credits song sung by Sheena Easton, which was originally meant to be sung by Freddie Mercury, is super cheesy, but I kind of liked it.
I would have liked it better with Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, I would have too.
Sheena Easton.
But I mean, I didn't know at the time, as I was just sitting there watching the movie. I did watch the whole credits, I mean, which I usually will do anyway for the podcast. But I was like, I kind of want to hear the rest of this song.
Will you sing some of it for us?
I will not. I don't even remember. I don't remember what that was. What is it? It's Christmas All Over the World. That's what it is. I'm not going to sing it, but it's not bad.
Dave?
I can't sing it either, but I do remember nodding my head and had a little bit of a smile on my face. So yeah,
there we go. So we'll come back and talk more of our general thoughts on Santa Claus the movie. Welcome back to Awesome Movie Year in this special Christmas preview of our season on the films of 1985. We're talking about Santa Claus the movie, and Jason, I cruelly poured cold water on your enthusiasm for holiday films by having us watch this.
Josh, you put a lump of coal right in my stocking. You stuffed my stocking and not in the way that I wanted, Josh. we've kind of made all the points. I think the tonal confusion is a big issue here. I think the lack of fun is a big issue here. And this should have been a broader movie for what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could have been a broader movie, or they could have just made it serious. I mean, this movie essentially opens with Santa and Mrs. Claus freezing to death. It's like hilarious. It's grim. I wondered this time, because they really do straight up die, and then they're sort of like resurrected by the elves. And I thought maybe the whole Santa experience is like one of those death dreams that, like, the last gasp of your brain before your body shuts down.
Ooh.
And the corpses of Santa and Mrs. Claus just are mummified there up in the Arctic or whatever. And Santa doesn't exist at all.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because on my Instagram this whole month, both at Jason Harris Comedy and at the Trivia Party, I'm giving a Christmas movie recommendation for one every day. And it goes from all over, the basic ones, the obvious ones, to the weird ones. And what you described is almost like the one I recommended first, which is Rare Imports, right? Rare Exports. Yes. The Scandinavian film where the kids find the mummified ice tomb of Santa, and they think, oh, we're bringing Santa back to life. And then he just terrorizes everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this Santa would not be the villain in the horror story. He's like the victim. Like, it's horrifying that he's just, he's so focused on delivering the presents to the children that he goes out in this horrible storm when he should not do that. And he takes his wife with him. He's really bringing her to her death, as well as these reindeer, right? Donner and Blitzen, his reindeer. And all for the sake of delivering. And they don't even make it to their last destination to deliver the final toys. They just freeze to death. And that's how this movie starts. So I feel like it could have gone in a really weird, serious direction. But obviously that's also not what the producers wanted. They wanted this to be a big 4-quadrant family-friendly blockbuster. But it's a weird way to start off something like that. If you're a kid watching and you realize, oh, look, Santa's not moving. What's going on there?
Our second discussion already of reanimating a beloved character, Josh.
Yeah. I don't know if Vincenzo, whatever, is as beloved as Cazaretti, yeah. But it's a weird way. It's a weird way to start things. So
there's a moment when the elves, they say to him, "Now you'll live forever," and it felt like a threat. The way that they delivered that line.
It does. I mean,
some people will take it as that.
Yeah. I mean, but the whole thing, right? They're dead, and then the elves like reanimate them, and they're like, now, whether you like it or not, you're going to live forever. You're going to live in this weird little workshop where you don't get to interact with anyone else except us crazy little people. You're going to deliver toys to children all over the world every year. You never get a break.
On an endless night.
Right. Yeah. That was what I thought of too. I thought of this Stephen King story, The Jaunt, where it's a science fiction thing where like there's a teleportation technology, and in order to do it, you have to be knocked out. And the character, because the experience cannot be experienced or whatever, and the character in the story like sneaks away and doesn't get the sedative, and it's like the eldritch horrors that you experienced during this. And I wondered, like, what is Santa's?
That sounds great.
It is. It's a great story. It's a classic Stephen King story. It's fantastic. But what is Santa experiencing, like, subjectively for him? Does Christmas last for like 10 years every year in order for him to get to every house? It sounds horrifying.
I mean, Santa just goes with the flow. No matter what they throw at him, all right, I'll go deliver these toys. Yeah, I guess we need a new assistant. Okay, well, it's time for me to go and do this again. Like, he's just in it to win it, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, that's I guess that's why he's the chosen one, because I think other people might be like, what the fuck have you done to me? And Mrs. Claus, she also lives forever, but she doesn't do anything. She just hangs out and knits or whatever, I think. She doesn't have much
Talks
to do.
About what their child might have been like.
Right.
She's sad, Josh, because she's barren.
They are sad because they never got to have children, and now they will live forever without ever having children.
but everyone's their child, Josh.
Yeah, but they never get to interact with the children, right? They lose. I mean, I'm sure Jason.
Santa does.
Well, only after like hundreds of years or even 1,000 years or however long it is until he finally meets
what
Joe.
Is that if you're immortal?
I guess.
That's like a second if you're immortal.
I guess. But I feel like he misses out mostly on the chance, right? He has to hide from the children and not interact with them. And I feel like, right, Jason, you would say as a parent, isn't spending time with your child one of the best things about being a parent? Isn't that something that you enjoy?
I mean, that's like the main thing, Josh.
Right.
It's a good thing you don't have kids.
No, I know. I don't want to spend time with any children, but that's why I'm asking you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's a very sad existence in your interpretation of the Santa, Josh. I hear you.
But you're right. Imagine if the only thing, if you were allowed to buy your child gifts, but never see her reaction to them or even speak to her.
But he's got the whole world's reaction, Josh. You got to remember, it's not just a child. It's every child. We're all inside of Santa, Josh. And Santa's inside of all of us.
Naughty as well. So, but then you're right. He does befriend Joe, the homeless kid, and
with a great leather jacket for being homeless.
Yeah. And although I feel like Santa, there was one moment where Santa sees that poor Joe is freezing on Christmas Eve. And so he comes down and he befriends Joe and he lets him ride in the sleigh with him for a little while. And then he drops Joe off and he's like, okay, Joe, like, I'll see you next Christmas. Like, have fun being homeless for the next year. Like, come on.
Right, exactly. That is the best part. He's like, you go back to the streets where you belong, you bum.
Right, like, come on, you're Santa. Give him a home. Like, and at one point he's like, really, Santa? You give kids everything they want? And Santa's like, yep, anything they want. All right, back to the streets with you.
Yeah, and I know exactly what you want. It's for me to carve a statue of Patch the elf.
Right, who you've never met.
But you can't really play with him because he's sitting at a desk and he's a wooden statue.
It's
a wooden
figurine.
That's great. Santa, you really blew it.
He really did. I mean, but I feel like this is the product of 600 years of never interacting with children or really other human beings aside from his wife.
I mean, the other thing is this Santa is really a little too laissez-faire with the shop, isn't he, Josh? He's got these two assistants, one who's very organized and one who's kind of like out of the box what they're thinking. And instead of saying like, hey, you're both going to be head elves and we're going to take the best ideas of both of you, he gives the assistant job to Patch, who's taking these shortcuts to build the toys. And none of them work and they all break and all the kids are upset. And Santa didn't check like even one, no, Santa nor any of the elves even checked one toy to make sure they were like up to Christmas standard.
Yeah, there's no quality control department there at Santa's workshop, it seems like. And
this is where that Ralph Nader cameo
right,
should have come.
So true. I feel like, right, Ralph Nader, the consumer watchdog, needs to not only be taking down BZ toys, but maybe I mean, we see what happens when Patch's mass-produced toys fall apart. Like one of them gets run over by a bus. Like what if a kid got run over by a bus? Thanks, Santa.
Yeah, he would just be like, see you next year, Jimmy.
Right. Yeah. Good luck in the hospital. Sorry, your legs are broken.
I was dead once too. Don't you worry about it.
So. I was resurrected and it's all been fine. So yeah, and I feel like this also goes to like, I don't really know how to take Patch as a character because he's not the villain, right? BZ is clearly the evil villain and he kind of takes advantage of that. Right. And he's very over the top, ridiculous. I love John Lithgow, but John Lithgow is like all the acting, like as much acting as possible in this movie.
Yeah. He's got so much ability and range. But he is like an actor who it seems like needs a director, right? Sometimes to be like 10% less, right?
And I feel like this movie, that's the opposite. They told him 80% more. Like I guarantee they got the exact performance out of him that they wanted in this movie. But
yeah, I mean, it does a lot of those, Miracle on 34th Street things and, where it's, nobody there's the blustering bad guys and like, nobody believes in Santa anymore. It does play with those tropes a little bit. But going back to your idea of Patch, I agree with you. It's a confused character. Dudley Moore, I think, was the first person cast. And again, I think this should have been a much more comedic character. And the idea is he does a bad job. Santa doesn't kick him out. He just, kind of exiles himself, and he goes to work for this toy company, not to get back at Santa, but just to prove that he's good enough to work for him, even though Santa never said he wasn't. But again, this goes back to bad communication with Santa as the boss.
Well, right. Yeah. Because like you said, he doesn't exile Patch, and he doesn't even really fire Patch. Patch is like, oh, okay, I see. I didn't do a good job. Here's my apron with the giant word assistant on it, which is so meaningful to me. And Patch leaves, and Santa doesn't even know. He's like, what? Patch is gone. And if he wanted Patch to come back, he could have gone after him or something, but doesn't. And he sort of lets Patch go into the arms of the evil BZ. But the other thing is, right, Patch is saying, oh, I want to prove to Santa that I can do the job, that I know what but Santa has literally no awareness of what's going on here until they make the TV commercial for Patch's magical lollipops or whatever. But he doesn't know what Patch is doing or that Patch is trying to prove himself.
Right. And even after the commercial, he thinks Patch is trying to, go out on his own and put him out of business.
Right. Which he kind of is. He makes his own
there. So
he makes his own rocket sled. What?
It's I was saying flubber because that when they eat it at the end, they just kind of float away and stuff.
Yeah, like it's like that, or like the candy, the fizzy lifting drink from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. But also, it's basically like they're giving kids drugs, right? Because BZ's whole business model is you get the first one for free, and then you're hooked. I mean, it's a drug metaphor, is it not?
100%.
Well, Josh, if these kids are going to hook up with each other, why don't they just do it while they're on drugs anyway? So.
Yeah. But I don't really get, I feel like we're supposed to sympathize with Patch, right? And then at the end, once he realizes that BZ is evil, he helps free little Joe, the homeless kid, and, to rescue him or whatever, even though he's got his explosive candy canes in the rocket sled. But I didn't like him. I found him annoying.
Patch, you found Patch annoying.
I found the whole movie annoying, but yes, Patch also.
Yeah. So, Josh, let's talk about some of the alternate casting. For Santa, we already said Brian Dennehy. Carol O'Connor, that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Barney Martin, who played Jerry's dad on Seinfeld. And David White, who I'm not exactly sure who that is.
Yeah, I don't know those either. I mean, David Huddleston was not. It's not like he was a huge star and he's forgotten. He was a character actor before this, and this is one of his only lead roles. And then continued his career as a character actor. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm just telling you the other people they were looking
right. No,
at,
I know.
So,
I'm just saying, I think they weren't necessarily looking. It wasn't like they tried to get a big name or something and failed and got him.
Well, for the other casting, they did try to get a big name, and Carol O'Connor was probably the biggest name of that bunch. Yeah. But for BZ, they went out to Harrison Ford, who I think would have been completely miscast in that role. Dustin Hoffman, who we've seen do that big thing like in Dick Tracy. And then the two really inspired choices to me, Burt Reynolds and Johnny Carson. I don't know what those would have looked like, but if we're going to go for a train wreck, let's go all in on the train wreck.
Yeah, I'm not, maybe there's something I'm not familiar with, but I don't think Johnny Carson ever worked as like an actor in movies.
This is a weird, wild toy. A weird, wild toy.
That's okay. That's way better than your homeless kid impression.
You are correct, sir.
But Burt Reynolds, I think would have been hilarious in this role, and maybe if he was less over the top than Lithgow is, I can definitely see him chomping on the cigar and doing that whole bit.
Yeah, that's right, kid. You take the candy cane, it makes you fly. That's right, kid.
Yeah, I like it.
And then The Ancient Elf was written for James Cagney, and Fred Astaire was the other person they were looking at. But again, that, like you said, that's just a walk on. It doesn't have.
Yeah, that's really a nothing role. I mean, the fact that they wanted to get some, famous old Hollywood star to do that, I don't know. I mean, I guess in a way that's like it's analogous to Marlon Brando playing Superman's dad in Superman. And I mean, he's not as old as Fred Astaire or James Cagney, but he was this sort of like star from an earlier era that added that extra marquee value or whatever in that small role.
Now, me, Josh, I would have gone all in on this Carson idea. I would have put Carson as the ancient elf, Burt Reynolds as BZ, and Dom DeLuise as Santa Claus.
Hell yeah!
I mean, this is
a real '80s Tonight Show.
I feel like Dom DeLuise. This is the right era for him to theoretically have been cast, right? I mean, he was a thing, right, in 1985.
Yeah, he was. And there's nothing funnier than the SNL sketches where Dana Carvey's playing Johnny Carson, and they have Burt Reynolds and Chris Farley's playing Dom DeLuise, and Burt Reynolds slams a cream pie on Dom DeLuise's crotch, and then you just see Chris Farley go like laugh like Dom DeLuise. It's absolutely classic.
I don't know if I've seen that. The Burt Reynolds SNL stuff I remember is with Norm Macdonald.
It's the greatest. Yeah. So at our Halloween costume contest at trivia night at Jive Turkey, the winner was a man who dressed as Turd Ferguson, aka Burt Reynolds, in the Celebrity Jeopardy sketch, and even had the Turd Ferguson nameplate.
Nice.
Yeah.
That I do remember, but I feel like I missed out on those Tonight Show sketches. But
well, you can look them up.
Maybe I will. I'm sure they're more entertaining than Santa Claus the movie that we are theoretically discussing right now. So, Dave, do you have any thoughts on Santa Claus the movie? Anything you want to offer here?
I mean, I did think you guys talked about the effects earlier. I did think they were kind of charming and, cool. I mean, it's been a while since I've watched any kind of special effects heavy movie from like 85, like mid 80s, when it was all kind of like this. I thought they looked cool. But yeah, like we said at the beginning, like it's just so scattered all over the place. It's so strange and nothing really works. It's just a whole bunch of random things that just don't work. I had jotted down that the naughty and nice list origin story is that a kid was torturing a cat. So
yeah,
I mentioned that.
That's another thing where, and like we get multiple scenes with these two random kids, these siblings, where one of them is torturing the cat. And at first, when that started, I was like, oh, right, because I've seen this before. And I remembered at some point it shifts to like the modern day and we see kids doing stuff. I thought, oh, is this how this starts? Is that the kids are torturing a cat? And they're going to be characters. But no, those kids disappear later on, just so that we can get the weird explanation for why the naughty and nice list exists. And I guess those kids they're like in olden times or something, because it's existed long enough that BZ, who is an adult in 1985, says that Santa never brought him anything because he was naughty. So,
yeah.
I don't know when exactly.
He was naughty. He was a real a-hole.
He was. But I'm saying is that he didn't predate the existence of the naughty list, because presumably before then, if you tortured a cat, you still got presents.
Right, because they even say, they even say like at one point they're like, so we should only have presents for the good kids.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and Santa. But it seems like weirdly, this is one of Santa's core values, right? All children deserve presents, and then he gets one letter, and he's like, oh well. I guess not. Whatever. just make a list instead. We're gonna be the children police or whatever, which is a huge element of Red One also.
Do you think that had Santa given these naughty children presents, they might have seen the error of their ways and it would have reformed some of them?
Well, maybe. I feel like this is really going to the core of like rehabilitation theory and criminal justice. And do we want it to be punitive or do we want it to be rehabilitating? And I think Santa has come down on the side of punitive, right?
I mean, I on the other hand go rehabilitating. Obviously Sing Sing is a companion piece to this, and you see what happens.
Right. Mm-hmm. So true. I mean, I guess theoretically with the whole naughty list thing, if you reform yourself the next year, you can get a present if you're good for a whole year. But right. I feel like that it's the incentive is it's hard for kids, especially, to like think of an incentive that's that far in the future and reform themselves for that long a period of time for a reward that may or may not even come. Like, what if you're not nice enough? You've been naughty and you're trying, but you just haven't, like, where is the line? How many?
It's subjective, right? There's no objective piece on this naughty nice list. So
yeah,
I could see, like, and then there's the like you're saying, like, hey, maybe I didn't get where you thought I would get, but look at all the improvement I've made. Doesn't that warrant something?
Is there credit for that? It's a totally binary thing. There's no kind of nice, kind of naughty. You're either nice or you're naughty. And I feel like,
well, I mean, that's like how people are in real life, Josh. There's no gray area. It's black and white, baby.
Yeah, but I feel like if you're the world's designated chosen one to bring joy to children, you should have an understanding of nuance.
Josh, what about the nice kids who maybe had some, maybe they're going through puberty and they got a little moody and they weren't as nice as they've been in the past? Like, where does that go? Does that mean like, hey, you weren't as nice, but you were still nice? Or we have this expectation for you because we've seen how nice you can be? There's just a lot to work out here.
Right. I mean, and what is the binary? Is it like only 100% niceness gets you a present? If you're 99% nice, are you now naughty? Second place is the first loser. Is that where we are with this?
All I can tell you, Josh, is I'm naughty by nature, not because I hate you.
Okay. Well, on that note, should we rate this out of 5 creepy animatronic reindeer?
5 puce juices?
Puce juice, right. The name of the weird It's not a juice, though. It's a lollipop. Why do they call it juice? It makes no sense.
And the guy he just wanted to have the word puce so he could make the rhyme puce juice. So,
right. Well, I feel like the screenwriters were like, you know what word is funny? Puce. Let's get that in there somewhere.
Let's do a rhyme. Not only do a rhyme, but like really shine the lantern on it. So when he says it, like we all know that the joke is there because he can laugh at his own joke. And we've stopped all momentum of the movie while he tells the joke.
Well, it's the same for all the puns that Patch makes, like, elf assurance, elf confidence. Like, we get it. Doesn't make sense, but you sure said it a bunch of times.
Right. So he had no elf awareness.
No, clearly not.
Josh, 2 for me. 2 of these animatronic reindeer, which I would love to see at a new Christmas themed Chuck E. Cheese type establishment. It's not a good film. I will not be watching it. It will not be in my regular Christmas movie rotation going forward.
No, sadly, I somehow now have seen this movie twice, and I hope not to see it again. I'm going to give it 2 animatronic reindeer as well. And I don't know what happened to those animatronic reindeer, but I could, they should be in some sort of Hollywood prop museum or something. They were pretty impressive, actually. So
yeah, we could like use them in Five Nights at Freddy's 3.
Right. Yeah. Give them some blood and fangs or whatever and have them attack people. So Dave, how do you rate this?
I'm giving it 3, but that is overrating it, I feel like. But I'm going to do it anyway because we're in the Christmas spirit.
Oh, Dave is on the side of the gray area, and a little niceness gets you to be nice, right?
Nobody knows Christmas spirit more than our most Jewy friend, Dave.
Yes.
Yeah. No mention of Hanukkah or other religions in this film. Everyone just celebrates Christmas.
I'm watching. I know we're getting to the next segment. Don't worry, Josh. Mm-hmm. I'm watching the Tournament of Champions, the cooking show holiday edition, and the whole set is adorned with Christmas decorations and stockings and trees and fireplaces and Christmas this, Christmas that. And then in one background shot, you have one menorah. And it's just always funny to be like, hey, look, Jews, we're representing you too. We put one of your things in here.
Right. So, in the background where maybe you don't see it. So they don't bother with that at all, but that's okay. We'll come back and talk about the legacy of Santa Claus, the movie. Welcome back to Awesome Movie Year. In this special Christmas preview of our season on the films of 1985, we've been talking about Santa Claus, the movie. And Jason, as you said, one of the legacies of this film is that despite its initial box office failure, it is a kind of a cult classic, but also a perennial favorite in the UK. It's the most aired Christmas movie on British TV somehow.
Yeah, that's wild to me because, I think when we always look back and we've covered it, we think of Love Actually as the quintessential British Christmas movie at this point in time. This movie on my Letterboxd review, go for Jason, #1 Letterboxd count in America and Central America now too. I did put that this feels like the stodgiest British, production that they could do until like the last 10 minutes. But I don't think that the Brits would have wanted that for this version either. But I guess I'm wrong because it's a cult classic.
Yeah, it's weird. It doesn't feel particularly British to me. I mean, it is an American production, and you got Dudley Moore, but David Huddleston, Santa here is American. You got John Lithgow is American. And the whole BZ storyline is a very like American capitalist, villain storyline. He's got a hearing before a Senate subcommittee for, that's how they introduce him. So I don't know what exactly it is that sort of appealed to the British public, and I don't know the details of this, but I know sometimes the reason that certain movies, it's just if they air enough on TV and nothing else is on, and parents are like, oh, hey kid, here's a Christmas movie, watch it. And then it becomes like lodged in the memories of these kids as they grow up. And it may just be that some TV station in the UK was able to license this cheaply or whatever and air it every Christmas.
Yeah, it could be their version of A Christmas Story, which just plays for 24 hours straight out here, which we consider American, but was made by a Canadian, Josh. So how about that?
Yeah, and I mean, it is a beloved classic now that wasn't necessarily when it was released. And I mean, I would say that A Christmas Story is a good movie and is a better movie than this. But I'm sure a lot of the reason why it's become so well known and so beloved is because it's just shown so often. And so maybe that's what happened here too.
So that's the lesson here. If you want people to like something, just put it on repeat.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of the lesson here. But at the time it was released, this did not do much for the people who worked on it. It was kind of the end of the Salkinds' career as producers of these big budget type movies after their 3 Superman movies and Supergirl. And Jason, as you said, Superman 3 had not done so well compared to the first 2, and Supergirl had not done well at all. And then this one flopped. And so they were really kind of out of the game. They did produce one more movie together, Christopher Columbus, The Discovery, in 1992, which I've never seen, but it feels like another thing where they're like, who's a famous figure that we can turn into a blockbuster? Christopher Columbus.
Wasn't that called like 1492?
No, that's a different movie. That's the only thing I remember is that there were 2 big budget movies about Christopher Columbus that came out. It was like a Dante's Peak volcano situation, but for Christopher Columbus.
There you go. Or a Deep Impact Armageddon situation.
Yeah, exactly. So that was their last film production credit together. They did develop, because they own the rights to it, the Superboy TV series that aired in syndication in the 1990s. Alexander, who is the father, had a career stretching all the way back to the 40s, and he passed away in 1997. And Ilya, the son, did establish a production company, but he really has almost no credits after the Superboy TV series. So it's weird that these guys were like this like super production team, and that flamed out within a span of less than a decade.
Yeah, I mean, you can also look at the director, Jeannot Szwarc, and this kind of, he did Jaws 2 and Supergirl and Somewhere in Time, and this kind of took him out, but then he came back to be like a pretty well-regarded TV director working on shows like Smallville and Fringe.
Yeah, he did a ton of TV directing later in his career, but you're right, this also kind of ended his career as a Hollywood director. And he has one more American film that he directed called Honor Bound, which I think was another flop. And then movie-wise, he went back to France, his native country, and directed some films there. But in terms of the US, he basically just worked in TV and extensively in TV. I mean, he was directing TV episodes all the way through 2019 and died in 2025. So did have a long career, but never became this big blockbuster filmmaker that he was sort of aimed to be at one point.
We've talked about a lot of these actors before, Josh. Dudley Moore in The Bed Sitting Room, John Lithgow in All That Jazz. So do you want to point out any of their work, Josh?
We also talked about John Lithgow in our Footloose episode, which I feel like his role in that as the like evil preacher is another one of these over the top, villain roles that he does. That's kind of one of his things. So were we for some reason recently talking about body switch movies, and I think I got confused about who was in which one. Like Father Like Son is the
that's the one with Dudley Moore and Kirk Cameron.
Yes, that is correct. And I don't know, I can't remember. I had gotten them mixed up with Vice Versa, which is the one with Judge Reinhold and
Fred Savage.
Yes, yeah. So
crushing.
I remember when I was a kid, I missed these, big Dudley Moore roles that I think maybe have watched some of them later on, but I definitely remember watching Like Father, Like Son as a kid. And John Lithgow, still doing tons of stuff, just did, in Killers of the Flower Moon and Conclave, The Rule of Jenny Penn, which is a horror movie that got a lot of acclaim this year that I keep meaning to watch. So
I think he didn't he just win an Emmy for The Old Man recently too?
I don't know if he won, but maybe he did. It wouldn't surprise me if he won, or at least was nominated for that series. I mean,
this guy's got six Emmys, 2 Golden Globes, an Olivier Award, 2 Tonys, 2 noms for Academy Awards. I mean, he's a legend, bro.
He is. And I mean, still working constantly at this point. David Huddleston, as we said, mainly a character actor, has tons of credits, but this and The Big Lebowski are basically the 2 things that he's most well known for, Santa and The Big Lebowski. I mean, that's quite a pairing.
I know. I have to go back and watch, which I'm happy to do anyway. He's in Blazing Saddles, but I can't place him off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean, and he may have a small part. Again, he was, mostly a supporting actor in a lot of stuff, but very memorable, certainly, in Lebowski. Judy Cornwell, who plays Mrs. Claus here, mainly a TV and stage actor in the UK, including playing Miss Marple, the Agatha Christie character, in a bunch of stage productions, but really doesn't have very many film credits. And it doesn't get much to do here in this movie, really.
No, she really doesn't. Same, like I said, Burgess Meredith doesn't either, and he's an all-time legend. 2 Oscar nods for, of course, Rocky, Get the Chicken, and The Day of the Locusts, which we are talking about at some point covering. The Penguin, he's very well known, obviously, for playing the Penguin. He played George in Of Mice and Men, I think in like 1939 in that film, and just steals every scene in Grumpy Old Men.
Yeah, I mean, he has an incredibly long...
I mean, and if you're stealing scenes with Matthau and Lemon, you're really like bringing it to...
Oh, yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, he's great, and you can see, I mean, I've seen a couple movies from the 30s, from his early career when he was younger, and he was kind of like a romantic love interest. I saw a movie with him and Ginger Rogers, and, to have that career and then be the Penguin and then go on to do these later roles in 80s films and whatever. I mean, just an amazing range. The Twilight Zone episode, that's one of the most famous Twilight Zone episodes ever.
Which one?
I forget the title of it, but it's the one where he's the only survivor in the apocalypse, and he now is so happy that he has time to read books. Yeah.
To read. Yeah, that is a classic. That's a great episode. Look that one up, guys.
Yes. Yes, indeed. So I was hoping maybe these children, the kid actors, did something interesting later in their lives, but didn't find much. Both of them, Christian L. Fitzpatrick and Carrie K. Heim, who play the orphan kids, have just 1 or 2 more credits each and decided to leave acting. And Carrie K. Heim did become a lawyer and an author, and Christian Fitzpatrick, I don't know.
Well, she was in The Parent Trap too.
Yeah, and he
that concept warranted.
And he was in Vice Versa. Speaking of body switch movies, but then both of them decided, after going out on a high note with those 2 films, to end their careers.
Josh, since we're in the 80s right now, should we recommend an 80s Christmas movie since we didn't like this one?
Sure. I hadn't thought of one, but I can try to. I assume you have a selection.
I mean, we've covered a few. We've covered, we've covered Gremlins before. That's a great one. Pick there, Josh. I think did we cover Lethal Weapon 2, where I would say Lethal Weapon is, a great 80s Christmas movie.
We've covered
National, right. We've covered National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. That's an all-timer, right? So, there's plenty of good ones there, Josh. Die Hard, always.
Ernest Saves Christmas.
Is that from the 80s or the 90s?
It's 88.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And Josh, how about one of your favorite movies that I would also say is one of my favorite movies from the 80s, Moonstruck, which you might not consider a Christmas movie, but takes place over Christmas time.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, I know, Jason, you like the Christmas movies that aren't, where it's Christmas is incidental. I wouldn't have even remembered that. And I do love Moonstruck. But check out the Awesome Movie Year archives for other great Christmas movies from the 80s from our previous episodes. I was thinking of Scrooged, maybe. That's
so good.
That's a fun Christmas movie that we have not covered. So lots of good stuff. Watch those movies for your Christmas celebration. don't watch Santa Claus the movie. But this is Santa Claus the movie. That's awesome movie year. Merry Christmas, everyone. And wish us happy holidays online and on social media.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy Hanukkah and Kwanzaa, whatever else you celebrate. We're at awesomemovieyear.com, Awesome Movie Year on Facebook and the Gram. As you know, I'm Jason Harris, comedy on all those things. Also on Instagram at The Trivia Party. Please follow that. And go for Jason quietly taking over the Letterboxd universe.
So very quietly, so quietly that no one really even knows or follows. But
it's a very stealth operation, Josh.
Yeah. You can find some old stuff from me, including my entire 30 days of posts about Christmas movies, which includes Santa Claus the movie, at joshbellhateseverything.com. I'm at Josh Bell Hates Everything on Facebook, at Signal Bleed on Blue Sky and Letterboxd. And if you're on Letterboxd and you, for some reason, watch this movie or any of the movies we talk about on the show, tag your review Awesome Movie Year. We would love to know what you think. And check out our producer, David Rosen's awesome podcast, Piecing It Together.
Check out Piecing It Together wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on social media at PiecingPod, and give us a Christmas gift in the form of a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Yes, please.
I like that, Dave. Good work.
So, Jason, what's in our next episode?
Well, Josh, we're going back to 1971, where we feel nice and comfy, like snug in a bug on a rug. Obviously, I'm vamping while I look it up, Josh, but I have found it. We are going to Berlin for the Golden Bear winner. The film is called The Garden of the Finzi-Continis.
And I have a feeling that Vincenzo Casaretti will be making an appearance in that episode. So tune in next time for The Garden of the Finzi-Continis. And thanks for listening to Awesome Movie Year.
Thank you for listening to Awesome Movie Year. Make sure to follow Awesome Movie Year on Facebook, at Awesome Movie Pod on Twitter, and at Awesome Movie Year on Instagram. And if you like the show, review us and rate us with 5 stars on Apple Podcasts.
An All Points West production, produced by David Rosen in Las Vegas.